we're not happy. It's not working. So we're going to change everything.
Hi, we're Tony and Stephen, a couple from Ireland who want to pursue full-time van life. In the summer of last year, we bought an ex-ambulance from a company called Base Van. We started converting our ex-ambulance last summer and ended up working well into the winter. But this conversion was only temporary to get us on the road. And after an amazing few trips out in the van, we realised what we want our final layout to be.
So everything that you've seen with the van so far, minus the bed, is going to change completely. I know we had like the passenger seat and the wee seat that we have temporarily, but we realised it's just not going to work. And the kitchen, having a big massive kitchen, maybe is unnecessary because we realised we don't need all that space. But then what we're also lacking is any sort of chilling out. Tony's maybe in the bed and I'm maybe in the passenger seat, and we're just not really utilising the space very well. So we're going to change that, move the bathroom and give ourselves a sitting area in the van, a proper sitting area in the van. So we're going to maybe block up one window from the inside and move our bathroom to where we actually said we were going to put it, like off video at the very beginning. So if you've been watching our videos, you will know what this grey tracksuit means, as I wear it in all of our build videos. And we are going to build the van again. We have a very strict deadline of about 4 to 5 weeks to do what we want to do, and the reason being is we are meeting up with more van life friends. The van needs to change in big ways. This disastrous seat just keeps breaking, so it's the first thing to go straight in the bin, so it is an absolute disaster. We said from the very beginning this whole countertop setup was a temporary solution, so it's also the first thing to go. So let's start by taking this bloody thing away, shall we?
So we bought that ottoman from B&M, and honestly it's been one of the worst things that we've purchased for the van. We keep finding the little pins that come out of the seat, and trying to get those out of Rosie's mouth has been an absolute nightmare, because if she's finding them, she's picking them up and potentially getting herself into a lot of trouble. Case in point, Stephen's just found one on the floor. So what you can see right now is Stephen doing the fridge. Now we are going to keep this fridge, but we're going to put it in storage for the meantime so that we can use it again whenever we advance on the build.
So now that we have all this out of the way, we're going to have a think about what we want to do for bathroom, because we're going to actually move the bathroom over to here. So what I'm thinking we do is we take the shower tray that we have and the toilet, and we set them in and sort of see what spaces we're going to need. We do have a 600 by 600 shower tray, but we don't think we're going to use it just because of the way our toilet and stuff is going. Hello! Welcome to our new bathroom! So we have used our old solar panel boxes, which I knew would come in handy someday, to sort of mock out a bathroom. We want to try and make it so that we have enough space to do what we need to do, but bring it in as much as possible, and then see as well how much kitchen space we're going to have. Yeah. Sort of like that. And then, like, I have not a whole heap of space, but again the countertop's going to come in a bit more. So it could probably come in a bit, like, couldn't it? So if we say the outside wall finishes in line with this, bring that in. You can just about see your head over that, because we're going to have a strip. I'm sort of thinking if I'm going to go to all the hassle of making a platform and waterproofing it, I may as well just make my own shower tray, because it in theory shouldn't be that difficult. Hang on, I'll open the door. So that gives good space. So let's see what that is from wall to wall, roughly. I think 65. And then if I get this, $87 wide. Now that we have a good idea of where we're going to put our new bathroom, we are going to take this away next so that we can get a scribe in. So we're going to unscrew this, and then this is going to serve a few different purposes. So what we'll be able to do is we'll have to run spotlights in for the bathroom, and we're also going to have a TV for what will be the new sitting area. So we'll need to run a wire for the TV as well. We actually bought this scribing tool ages ago for doing the likes of this, and never actually used it. So this will be the first time I've ever actually used a scribing tool. But I think the theory is you run it along the wall and then have your, say we're going to use a piece of cardboard to begin with, against it, and it should give you your scribe.
We used the measurements we took to create 3 sides for the shower. Once everything was scribed, cutting it to size was relatively easy. We then did a test fit to make sure everything would fit in place. Finally, we needed to box in the wheel arch, so we made a wheel arch cover. Before finally installing the pieces of wood in the fan, we took advantage of the good weather and decided to get them painted.
Last night I ordered a pocket hole jig, just a wee cheap one, so that we could assemble the bathroom sort of panels together. Something I've never actually used before is pocket hole jig. I've seen everybody basically say you can't build a van without one, and I never really seen the appeal to it. But after just trying it out, I can say that yeah, no, it does make a big difference. So the way it works is you have a wee measurement on the back, and you set the thickness of the material you want to screw into, and then you set sort of the depth of the material you want to screw into. And the way you do that is you just run the drill bit up, and then the drill bit is like stepped, so you've got like a piercing point and then a flat bit, and the flat bit is the bit that the pocket hole screw actually sits onto. So if you do your pocket hole and you find that your screws maybe going too far, you can adjust this wee collar forward, and then it'll pull that back a wee bit. So we tested it out, and seems like a really good job. So it does, yeah. So now that we have our 2 side panels done for our bathroom, we're going to move on to the opening of the bathroom, so the door. So we need to make essentially a border around this in one piece, and then have the bottom of it quite deep so that we can use it as sort of our shower tray area and keep the water in. So we're going to just try and see if we can mark it out and then cut it out with the jigsaw, but we only have the one piece of wood, so we've only got the one go at this. So now that we have this board marked out, what I've done is I have drilled 4 holes in each corner, and now I'm going to run the jigsaw up it. And this is a bit I'm sort of nervous of, but I do have a guide for the jigsaw, so fingers crossed I'm able to cut straight lines. That's okay. That's not bad. Yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start assembling the bathroom in place. Now, we're not sure how much of this we'll be able to record, but we'll do our best. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to assemble it bit by bit, and then get our measurements right, make sure it's all spaced and squared, and then screw and glue it together.
So we now have the structure for the shower area built. You might have noticed that we've painted the outside around it, but inside we're going to plastic these, which is why we're leaving it wood at the minute, because this is all going to need treated and tanked, and then we're going to put the plastic in. If you look at the size of this area, there's plenty of size to go to the toilet and have a shower.
Let me play you a little song with my accordion. So this is going to be our new door. It is an accordion folding style door, which is PVC outside, so it's waterproof as well. And you're noticing probably this woody colour, and that's because we are changing the colour scheme a little bit, and we actually have the new matching countertop for it as well. So to install it, we're hoping it's going to be quite simple, as because it's accordion, the width is fairly workable. So this is the top track, So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this down to the width of our door opening, and then we're going to take a measurement from the top to roughly about the bottom of the door frame, and then we're going to cut this in half as well. Oh yeah. Where's the space? So that's going to be our gap at the bottom, which you'll not see really. That should be right. So the new bathroom has turned out like much better than we actually expected it to turn out. It looks amazing from this side, so it does, like, it's scribed in really well. And then the folding door that we got out of Argus actually has really impressed us. Like, it's absolutely ideal for this situation. Now hopefully it holds up over time, like, and it doesn't as we're driving along. But no, I'm really happy. Like, I think this even looks a lot better than the old bathroom we had. Like, the whole, like, the wood looks a lot nicer, and although this is white for now, it's still wet. It looks really good. It just looks more finished. You know, it looks really good. So yes, it's turned out really well, and it didn't take as long as actually doing this did. I think maybe because we've done a wee bit and we sort of know now what we're doing. Well, to a point.
So it is a new day working on the build, and the next thing that we want to work on is getting rid of this old shower unit now that we've got the new one in.
But in order to take away the shower unit, we first need to take away the old kitchen.
So we have now freed up and loosened the counters, but in order to take this out we have to go one step further and get rid of this shower.
So in order to remove the existing shower, I'm actually going to have to take away some of the wall cladding around the window, which I didn't think I was going to have to do. So yeah, I should have really built it better.
So now you can see behind me that the fan is pretty much a blank slate, and it gives us all this space to work with for our new layout.
So what we're trying to think about now is what way to take this electrical panel off. So it was quite difficult to do the last time, and then to get all the connections in, but I'm thinking if I undo one of the wee cable ties here, I might be able to drop the whole thing down flat from the back of the van, and then that way I can work on what I need to do and then relocate this. So this is all going to get sort of shuffled about, resized, and then relocated. Just a big at it. It's like a big umbilical cord. There we go. So that is that free. So that can sit in here again. And then I think I can undo the screws then, and that should just fall backwards, hopefully gently. So before we actually finally remove this wall, we're actually going to take away the step that's covering the diesel heater. The reason being is we're going to try and redesign it. The issue we're having is the vent covers that we have on the front, we keep kicking them with our feet and then they keep coming off. As well as that, what I want to do is I want to redo the ducting for the diesel heater, to maybe go in underneath what the kitchen will be, and then in behind the bed, and then into the shower room to make it like a dry room. Obviously with that run of ducting, it won't be very hot, the air going into the shower room, but it'll still be enough to keep it sort of like an airing cupboard. There we go. There she goes. Right, tell me if any wires are snagging.
No, it looks okay. It's more so that cupboard there.
So I'm just looking at the electric board going, ideally I would like to do away with this altogether, but for the time being, at the very least, we can remove this, because this is the old split charge, which won't work because of our lithium battery, and then this was a disconnect shunt, which ran off the split charge thing for like a battery card system. So we can get rid of that and get rid of that, and then just put a positive bus bar in and connect them positives into it, and that's really, and then we can move this down, shrink it down in size at the very least. So yeah, that's sort of what I'm looking at doing. I might try and see, ideally I would like to get the lights on their own switches, because every time you open the door and close the door, it sets off an alarm, which is a nightmare. So if we could get away with at least that alarm, it would be good. Which means doing away with the control panel, I think. But there's a lot that runs through that control panel, like I think the lights on the back of the van top, I think they run off this as well. I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, it's a bit of figuring out to do. So we're going to stop with the van electrics for now. It's ended up a wee bit more complicated than I was hoping, and for me to condense those electric boards right down or get rid of them completely would probably take a good few weeks to maybe a couple of months of tracing all the wires and finding out which wire goes what in order to put a new switchboard on and make it more simplistic. So I think that might be a job maybe for our friends in Basefan, maybe next year if we can get across the water. We're wanting to go over to England anyway for a trip, so we'll maybe call in and see if they can maybe do that job for them, maybe get in contact with them to see about maybe arranging that. For the meantime though, what we have managed to do is, I don't know if you've noticed, but in our previous videos, every time we open the sliding door and the rear doors, the lights automatically come on and you get this horrendous beeping if you don't turn the lights on by the button in time. So we've been able to disable that for the time being, and then that means we can still use the controller that we have with the ambulance electrics, and we won't get that horrendous beeping. Because the worst part is you try to open the door, maybe one of us is still in bed, and then it beeps really, really loudly. Or if we have van neighbours, if we're at a camp up, it'll beep quite loudly where you would maybe disturb them as well. So what we have to do next week is we have to just bring that electric board in a wee bit. I've taken off our shore power for now, so we're going to relocate that as well, and then rewire a wee bit of that. I've condensed a lot of the wiring down for the time being. Then we need to build our kitchen, our new IKEA kitchen, which is coming, so we're going to build that outside the van and then bring it in and slot it in, and then we can actually finally move on to the new bench seat.
So we'd like to invite you to subscribe so you can join us next week and find out how we get on with our new van conversion.